plant parameters. So we will see that point. So the first controller is the proportional controller. So if you see the output of the proportional controller, so that will be u of t is equal to kp into u of t, e of t plus u0. Okay. So u0 is the controller output when error is 0. Okay. And e of t is the error signal, and here kp. So here kp is a controller gain. So kp. So here kp is the controller gain. Okay. Now if you just calculate a transfer function for this, so we know that for deriving the transfer function of any system, we ignore the initial conditions. So I will ignore u0 here because that is the controller output when error is 0. Okay. So transfer function of the controller will be, if you convert this particular equation in a Laplace domain, that will be u of s is equal to kp into e of s. Okay, so u of s by e of s will be the transfer function of the controller, and that is equal to kp. Okay, so this is the transfer function of the controller. So let us see if we include this particular proportional controller in a control. Just a minute. In a control system, what will be the effect on the uh, plant? What will be the effect on the overall transfer function of the system? So here we can see in the forward path we have inserted controller block, the proportional controller block, which is having the gain kp. Okay, and the plant transfer function is the standard second order transfer function. Okay, so before inclusion of the controller, transfer function of the system is this, that is a standard second order transfer function. Now when we add the controller in a control system, this particular proportional controller in this system, the closed loop transfer function will be kp into omega n square upon s square plus 2 zeta omega n into s plus kp into omega n square. So here if you see, so this factor, this particular factor determines the natural frequency of oscillation, right? So after the inclusion of this particular proportional controller, that factor is get increased. So we can say that natural frequency of oscillation omega n is increased. Okay. So now if you see this factor 2 zeta omega n, okay, if omega n is increased, so what will be the effect on zeta here? Zeta will decrease, right? Because if you just compare it, if you want to calculate a zeta here, what you will do? Okay, so if you want to calculate a zeta, and you know the omega n is what? Kp into omega n square. Okay. This is your 2 zeta omega n. If I say omega n is increased, okay, now this particular factor is constant. There is no change in this. So if omega n is increased, so to keep this particular factor constant, zeta will decrease. Okay. So if omega n is increased, zeta will decrease. Okay. Now if the zeta will decrease, what will be the effect on the damping frequency of oscillation and the peak overshoot? The damping frequency of oscillation and the peak overshoot, these two parameters will increase, because what is the MP? MP is depend on zeta only. Okay, So MP will be, what is the MP? Okay. So and relation between MP and zeta will be like this. So if zeta will be decreased, MP will be increased. Okay. So here you can see if zeta is increased, omega d will increase, and if omega d will increase, the peak time will decrease. Okay, the peak time. Here zeta omega n term is a constant. That's why the settling time will be constant. Similarly, rise time will decrease. So here we have seen if we include the proportional controller, or if we use the proportional controller, if Kp value is greater than 1, at that time all these parameters, time domain parameters will be get affected. Okay, so we can say that there is no effect on the settling time, but rise time of the system will increase, and the oscillation, the damping oscillations present in the system will increase, because peak overshoot will increase. Okay, peak overshoot will be increased, MP will be increased. The next controller is integral controller. Okay, for the integral controller, controller output is given by u of t is equal to ki, then the integration of the error signal u of t plus u of 0. U of 0 is a controller output when error is 0. Okay. So like this way, controller output in time domain is given. So here you can see Ki is the integral gain, and which is related to the Ti by this way. So it will be inversely proportional to the Ti. So if you want to calculate a transfer function, just a minute. Okay, then transfer function for this particular integral controller will be by ignoring the initial condition and by taking the Laplace transform of this term. So that will be u of s is equal to ki by s into e of s. Okay, so transfer function will be ki by s. Now here you can see in this particular integral controller, in the transfer function of the integral controller, there is a 0 at origin. Okay, so when you include this particular controller in a control system, in a particular closed loop system, so here you can see here the plan, if we consider the plant transfer function is 1 upon ts. Okay, so that is a type 1 system. And if we see the transfer function, closed loop transfer function without controller, so that will be 1 upon ts plus 1. Okay, now when we include this particular integral controller here, what will be the type of the system? What will be the type of system? Plant transfer function is 1 upon ts. I am including this integral controller here. So what will be the type of system? Initially the type of the system is what? 1. Now if I include this particular block, what will be the type of the system?
Type 2.
Type 2, right? So when you add integral controller in your system, so what will happen? System type will increase. It increases the type of the system. So if initially the system is a type 1 system, after inclusion of the controller, system will become type 2 system. So as you know that if the type of the system is get increased, Okay. For example, for a type 1 system, if I apply unit step signal, what will be the steady state error? 0, right? If I apply ramp signal, what will be the steady state error? That will be finite. Okay. But if that system will become type 2, even for the ramp input, my steady state error will be 0. So we can say that it reduces the steady state error of the system for the same input. Okay. For example, for a ramp input, I am getting a finite steady state error. Okay. But after inclusion of this particular controller, I am getting 0 steady state error. So it increases the type of the system and it reduces the steady state error for the system for the same input. Okay. Now, if you talk about the stability, as we know that we determine the system stability by using a closed loop transfer function. Without controller, the closed loop transfer function is 1 upon Ts plus 1. When you include the controller, what will be the closed loop transfer function? Ki upon S square into T plus Ki. So here you can see the initially system was absolutely stable system without controller. But after inclusion of the controller, system will become marginally stable system. So we can say that it reduces the stability of the system. After inclusion of this particular controller, it reduces the stability. It decreases the steady state error, but it reduces the stability of the system. So that is a disadvantage of this particular integral controller. Okay. Now let us see the next one. Uh, Practically, this particular integral controller or proportional controller are not used means they can't be used alone. Okay, there should be a derivative plus integral or proportional plus integral. That kind of combination will be there. So let us see the PI controller. So PI controller is a combination of the proportional and the integral controller. Okay, so we are using both controllers here in the forward path transfer function. So if you see the transfer function of the controller, so that will be S plus Ki upon S. Okay, so Ki, you know that is the integral gain. Now if you see this particular transfer function of controller, there is a one pole at origin and one finite zero at minus Ki. Okay, now okay, so just a minute. Now, if I include this particular PI controller in a system, type of the system will be get increased. This is overall forward path transfer function when we include this particular controller blocks. Okay, so because of this, type of the system will get increased. Okay, because there is a there is a one pole at origin uh, in the transfer function of this controller. So type of the system will increase. Similarly, here also the steady state error will decrease. Okay, now if you see the transfer function of the system after the inclusion of the particular controller, so this will be the transfer function of the system. So from this, you can see that there is one zero get added. Initially, there was no zero in the transfer function, closed loop transfer function. But after inclusion of this particular controller, there is a zero in a transfer function. So zero get added in the transfer function. So what we can say about this, if zero get added into the transfer function, what is the effect on the closed loop system stability? Similarly, damping also here will increase. Okay, so if the damping is increased, MP will decrease, maximum peak overshoot will decrease. Similarly, rise time will increase. Okay, now rise time and bandwidth, product of rise time and bandwidth is a constant. If I say rise time will increase, so bandwidth will decrease. Okay, the bandwidth of the system will decrease. Okay, so and if you talk about the resonance peak, as we know, if zeta is increased, damping is increased, the resonance peak will decrease, right? We have seen that. So for zeta less than 1 by root 2 only, there is a resonance peak occur. Otherwise, no resonance peaks. The second feature of next feature of this particular PI controller is that it filtering out the high frequency noise. Okay, and it improves the gain margin and phase margin. As we have seen, zero get added, system stabilities get increased. Okay, in root locus we have seen when you add zero in open loop transfer function. Okay, so what will happen if you add zero in open loop transfer function? The root locus will shift to the left side of the S-plane, right? It will shift to the left side of the S-plane. In root locus topic, we have seen that. Okay, so system stability will increase. So gain margin and phase margin will increase. Okay, so that are the features of the PI controller. So if you see the next controller, that is a derivative controller. Okay, so here in derivative controller, the controller output is given by u of t is equal to kd into derivation of error signal. Okay, so derivation of error signal. So here kd is a derivative gain. See, sometimes they refer that as a td also. Okay, kd is equal to td, that is a derivative gain. So if we just calculate the transfer function of this controller, transfer function of the controller will be td into s. Okay, so without controller, the plant is 1 by ts. So type is 1 and system is stable system. When you add a controller, what is the transfer function? When you add a controller, transfer function will become the open loop transfer function. Open loop g of s, I am forward path transfer function I am telling you. Okay, so g of s will become td by t. So this is what zero order system, just like a potentiometer. Okay, so zero order system. So type will become 0 and the order will become 0. So here type of the system is get decreased when you add a derivative controller. So type of the system is decreased. As we have seen, if the system type increases, steady state error decreases. But if system type decreases, steady state error will increase, right? For example, if initially for a unit step signal, we are getting zero steady state error for this particular system. Now we will get a finite steady state error after inclusion of the controller. Okay, so that is the effect of the derivative controller. So now one main advantage of derivative controller is that here you can see there is a zero at origin in the transfer function of the controller, derivative controller, td into s. Okay, so there is a zero at origin. So in the open loop transfer function, if there is a pole at origin, that will be get cancelled. Okay, so that will be get cancelled. So because of that, what will happen? System stability will increase. System stability will increase. So that is a second advantage of this. Disadvantage is that steady state error increases, but stability is increases. Okay. So generally, because of this disadvantage, steady state error increases, we don't use this controller, derivative controller alone. So always we use with PD or PI or PID controller, like that way. So the next controller is PD controller. So here in PD controller, this is the proportional controller and this is the derivative controller. Addition of these two controller will be there. So if you see the controller transfer function, that will be Kp plus Kd into S. Okay. So this is what finite zero. Finite in that transfer function, there is a finite zero in the transfer function of the controller. Okay. So if we add this particular controller in this particular forward path, the forward path transfer function will be this, and the overall transfer function of the system will be like this. So if you see, it improves the damping ratio, right? Similarly, just like the PI controller, it improves the damping ratio. So if damping ratio is increased, peak overshoot is decreased, as we know that thing. Okay. Similarly, it reduces the settling time. as we know, the for 2% tolerance band, what is the settling time? 4 upon zeta omega n. Okay, so if zeta is increased, settling time will decrease. So system will reach to steady state early. Then the third point is it increases the bandwidth. Okay, so generally the PD control is just like a high pass filter kind of thing. Okay, as whatever the differentiator you are using or derivative controller you are using, that is just like a high pass type of system. Okay, and this is the same, resonance peak will decrease because zeta is increasing, right? It will also improve the gain margin and phase margin, but what will happen, it will amplify the noise at higher frequency. Okay, generally this is a high pass system, so that's why it will be having high gain at higher frequencies. Okay, so whatever the noise which is occurring at a higher frequency, that will be get amplified. Okay, gain of the system will be high for the high frequency, that's why, so this will be the disadvantage. So PD controller, these are the features. Okay, so because of this disadvantage, amplifying the noise at higher frequency, this is rarely used controller. Okay, now PID controller, this is the in industry they use this PID controller. So generally they don't use PI, PD, that combinations also, but this is widely used controller, PID controller. So it is a combination of proportional, derivative, and the integral controller. Okay. So if you see the system controller transfer function, so that will be Kp plus Kd into S plus Ki upon S. So this will be the system transfer function. So here you can see there are zeros, there are finite zeros, two finite zeros, and one pole at origin. So if there is a pole at origin, type of the system is get increased and the steady state error is decreased. Now there are a zero which are away from the origin. So if zeros are away from the origin, what will happen? Root locus will shift to the left side. Okay, stability will increase. So we are getting both the advantages. Steady state error is also decreasing and stability is also increasing. If you use a PD controller, if you use a derivative controller, what thing was happening? Steady state error was decreasing, steady state error was increasing. Okay, and if you use if you use a integral controller, what thing there was happening? Stability was decreasing. Okay, but here if you see the PID controller, we are getting both the advantages. That steady state error is decreases and the stability of the system is increases. Okay, so this is the PID controller. This is the introduction to the controller, different types of controllers, and how the effect will be on the time domain parameters will be there. That thing we have seen. Now sometimes here you can see these parameters like a KP, KD, KI. Tuning of this parameter is very important. Okay, based on this tuning only, the system parameter will be get correctly matched, or we will get optimum performance. So for that purpose, tuning of this parameter is important. So there are different tuning methods which will decide the value of Kp, Kd, and Ki, so that our system will operate at means system will be having the better performance. Okay, so that's why there are certain tuning methods. So PID controller tuning. The tuning of the PID controller involves the computing controller parameters, okay, Kp, Ki, and Kd for getting a satisfactory system performance. So first method is Ziegler-Nichols open tuning method, open loop tuning method. This is also called as a process reaction curve method, okay, Ziegler-Nichols. Now here, if you see, for the system, for plant, we apply this particular unit step signal, this red color as an input we apply this red color unit step signal, which is having the value, which is having the amplitude value K. And this blue color line is the output of the system. Okay. So blue color line is the output of the system. Now, after getting this particular response, okay, after getting this particular curve, so we just draw a tangent line at a maximum slope for this. Now, whenever this line intersects the time axis, that time is a d. Okay. So what is a d? D is a dead time because we are not getting any response up to this point. Okay. So d is a dead time, and after that, t is the time constant of the system. This particular time constant of the system. Okay. So we got d t and we know the value of k, whatever the input we are applying. Okay. So using these three parameters, okay, using these three parameters, system transfer function is modeled. Okay. So that transfer function modeling will be k into e raised to minus ts upon 1 plus t into s, where k is a steady state gain or whatever the input amplitude you are applying, unit step amplitude. So that will be the k. D is a dead time and t is a time constant. So after getting these three parameters k, d and t, we determine the kp, ki and kd, or kp, ti and td. Okay. So here you can see. So tuning parameters. So kp, ti and td. Okay. So where ti is 1 upon ki and kd is equal to td is equal to kd. Okay. So if you use a proportional controller, so there is no use of setting Ti and Td because those controls are not there. Okay. So P will be T upon Kd. What is a T? Time constant. What is a K? Steady state gain. K into D. Steady state gain. And what is a D? Dead time. Okay. Then here I will make one change. K into D. So we will not get. Okay. If you use a PI controller, so we need to adjust the parameter Kp and Ti. Okay, so that will be 0.9 T upon K into D, and Ti parameter will be D upon 0.3. Okay, and if you use a PID controller, we need to set Kp, Ti, and Td. Okay, so what is a Kp? Kp value 1.2 into T upon K into D. Ti value will be 2 into D and Td value will be 0.5 into D. So like this way, so we determine the value of Kp, Ti and Td. So this, if they ask you, generally problems will not be asked on this, but if they ask you, so they will give you the parameters like a K, T and T and will ask you to tune the controller. You will see the problem on this. Okay. So like this way, tuning will be done of the particular parameters. So if the PID controller is given, okay, this will be the transfer function of the PID controller. And here we have seen in terms of TI and TD value we have seen. Okay. So if PID controller is used, Ki will be Ki is equal to Kp upon Ti and Kd will be Kp into Td. Okay. So like this way, Ki and Kd value is determined if you use a PID controller. Okay. So Ki will be Kp upon T and Kd will be Kp into Td. So let us see the first problem. Obtain P, PI and PID controller settings using Ziegler-Nichols open loop step response method if experiment has given K is equal to 1.5, D is equal to 2 seconds, T is equal to 9 seconds. Means dead time is 2 seconds, 1.5 is the amplitude or steady state gain, and T is the time constant, that is the 9 seconds. Okay. So for a P controller, so what is a what is the value for P controller? So we'll just copy this. Okay. So for PI controller, what is the value of Kp? T upon K into D. So T is given, K is given, and D is given. So 9 upon 1.5 into 2. So that will be 3. Now for a PI controller, we need to do the settings. Okay. So Kp will be 0.9 into T divided by K into D. So that will be 2.7. Okay. What is the value of Ti? Ti will be D upon 0.3. What is a D? 2. 2 upon 0.3, 6.66 seconds. And Ki. So what is the value of Ki then? If you want to determine Kp upon Ti. So that will be 2.7 divided by 6.6. So that will be 0.40. Okay. And for a PID controller, same thing. Kp will be 1.2 into T divided by Kd. So just formulas are used. Okay. If they ask you to find out using Ziegler-Nichols open loop step response method, so you can just use the formulas and just determine the values. Okay. So like this way, first we have determined, for if you consider the PID controller, first we have determined the values of Kp, Ti and Td, and then we have determined Ki and Kd. What is a Ki? Kp upon Ti, and Kd will be Kp into Td. So like this way, values are determined for the controller parameters. Okay. So for the closed loop, there is another method like Ziegler-Nichols closed loop ultimate cycle method. So in this method, closed loop system with the proportional controller is considered. Okay. Then Ti is set to infinity, so Ki is 0, means integral and derivative controller is not there. Okay. Now system is like this with the proportional controller K, which is adding the gain K, is added into the system. And in the experiment, what they do, they just vary the value of K in a such a way that system will oscillate at its natural frequency. So what is the meaning of that? They will make they will vary the value of K, and they will stop the experiment where system will become marginally stable system. Okay, the system will oscillate at its natural frequency. So here you can see. So this will be the output of the system then. Okay, for that particular value of K. Okay, so TU will be the time period of the oscillation. Okay, in this TU will be the time period of the oscillation, and controller gain at which this system will oscillate, that gain will be Ku. Okay, period of oscillation is Tu, and by using this parameter Ku and Tu, they will determine the PID parameters. Okay, controller parameters. So here you can see Kp, Ti and Td parameters they have determined. So if we use a P controller, Kp parameter will be 0.5 Ku. Okay, and if you use a PI controller, Kp parameter will be 0.45 Ku, Ti will be Tu upon 1.2, and PI, if you use a PID controller, Kp will be 0.6 Ku, Ti will be 0.5 Tu, and Td will be 0.125 Tu. Okay. And if you just consider the PID controller in this case, and if you want to determine the value of Ki and Kd, Kp we already know 0.6 Ku value is there. So Ki and Kd, Ki will be Kp upon Ti. Okay, so if you just put a value of Kp 0.6 Ku, Ti is 0.5 Tu. So Ki will be 1.2 into Ku upon Tu. Okay, similarly for Kd, Kp into Td. Okay, what is a Kp? 0.6 Ku. What is a Td? TD is 0.125 TU. Okay, so you will get these values. So let us consider one example so we will understand the problem. So determine P, PI and PID controller setting using Ziegler-Nichols closed loop ultimate cycle method. If experimental data is K is equal to 10 and T is equal to 8 seconds. So you just need to use this particular table and just put the values. Nothing difficult in it. Okay. So here you can see KU and TU is given. So for the proportional controller, KP will be 0.5 KU. Okay, so KU will be 10, so KP will be 5. For PI controller, KP will be 0.45 KU. So that will be 4.5. And TI will be 8 upon 1.2, that will be 6.66 seconds. And other parameters for PID controller will be, this is a KC. Sometimes they mention it as a KP also. So, okay. So KP will be 0.6 KU, TI will be TU upon PID controller. So what is the TU? TI will be TI will be TU upon 1.2. This is right. So here 0.5 TU is there. Okay, for PID controller 0.5 TU is there, right? So TI will be TU upon 2, so that will be 4, and TD will be TU upon 8, so that will be 1. So here okay. Now what is the application of this Ziegler-Nichols closed loop ultimate cycle method when system transfer function is known? Okay. So now you know the system transfer function. Okay, you don't have the values of TU and the KU. Okay, so you will not be able to determine the PID parameters. So in that case, what you will do? Okay, so the first step, if they give you the open loop transfer function and the proportional controller, okay, which is having the gain K. So you need to determine the KU and TU. So how you will determine if the transfer function is given? So first step is that you need to determine the closed loop characteristic equation. Okay. So as you know how to determine the closed loop characteristic equation, you need to find out the closed loop transfer function, and you just need to equate the denominator with the 0. The second step is you need to form the Routh array and determine the value of gain K for a marginal stability. So marginal K you need to find out. Okay. So after finding out the marginal K, you can just use the auxiliary equation to find out the frequency of oscillation. Okay, that is a omega u. Okay, so from omega u, so what you will calculate? TU. TU will be 2 pi by omega u. Okay, so like this way, if the open loop transfer function is given, you can determine the characteristic equation, you can determine the marginal K, and from that marginal K, you can determine the frequency of oscillation using auxiliary equation, and then you will determine TU, and after finding out this KU and TU, you will determine these parameters KP, TI and TD. The fourth step, KP, TI and TD. Okay, so like this way you can determine this parameter. So here you can see the example. Determine the PID controller setting if the system has an open loop transfer function this. So there is a one pole at zero, one pole at origin, one at -1, and one at -4. Okay. So first step is that you will multiply this particular open loop transfer function by gain k, because proportional controller we need to use now in this method. K we need to multiply. So k we will multiply to the open loop transfer function. So we have done that. So next step is that you will form the characteristic equation. Okay. And from the route table, you can determine the k marginal value. So can you tell me what is the k marginal value here? So what is the k marginal value here? Can you tell me? Can anyone tell me? What will be the k marginal value? How to find out k marginal? The value of k at which system become marginally stable. Can anyone tell me this value?
20.
Yes, k marginal will be 20. Now, what is the natural frequency of oscillation now? You need to use an auxiliary equation. In auxiliary equation, what will be the auxiliary equation here? By using auxiliary equation, you can just using auxiliary equation, you can determine natural frequency of oscillation. I think this will be the auxiliary equation, right? Is it right? Okay, right. So auxiliary equation is that. So you get a natural. So here I just formed the route table. So this will be the auxiliary equation: 5a square plus k. That is the k marginal. So k marginal is 20. Okay. So ku will be 20. So to find out tu, we need to use the auxiliary equation. So that will be 5a square plus 20. So that will be s is equal to plus minus j2 radian per second. So what is a omega u? That is a 2 radian per second. So what will be the tu? 2 pi upon omega u. So that will be pi. So 3.14 seconds. Then after determining tu and omega u, sorry, after determining ku and tu, you will just determine the PID tuning parameters by using this particular table. Okay, so after using this table, we got Kp is equal to 12, Ti is equal to 1.57 seconds, and Td is equal to 0.3927 seconds. Okay.